I used to love the taste of them berries on your lips. Back when you was carrying Sam.
Funny how memory could take hold of the senses. Smell, a taste. Make them mean something.
What them berries taste like to you?
Happiness.
We was happy then. Sam warm in your belly. Life full of possibilities. Then you was born and all that changed. Fear creeped in. Stole everything.
That's not true. We was happy until
I died.
Wow. Welcome to A-Well Build, huh?
yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Can we please make some noise for this Far Rockaway High, Fordham University, NYU grad. Literally went to school across the street from here.
Yes, that has been home. That was home for 3 years. Intense.
And honestly, you've been like kind of like on a New York tear. You did Celebrity Row at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that was hype. I tried to
crazy.
pretend. I tried to act like I do it all the time. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, please. I was like,
I mean, that's like the name of the game. You kind of got to fake it till you make it, right?
That's right. Yeah, at Madison Square Garden, I mean, that's home. The New York Knicks, hey, represent. They won that game, by the way. I don't want to hit no hate. They won, right?
I mean, we're trying to tank right now. I mean, you have to trust the process now, but...
That's right.
So first and foremost, like, it must feel amazing to literally be across the street from where you graduated, and now you are in one of the most breakthrough series on television.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, y'all. I mean, you know, I just look across the street and we cried so many tears on that third floor when you're going through grad school and, you know, you're really trying to just kind of uncover the layers and be able to go deeper and get out of your own way, all those same things that, you know, you learn in grad school and get massaged and you're like, yeah, I'm paying all this money, but this massage is fantastic.
So, and it's paying off those loans, too. That's a whole nother story.
Oh, that's yeah. We need to take care of that for the next generation. We really do.
So now let's talk about the work that's paying off those loans. You play Miss Ernestine in a fantastic role. And everyone that comes on and talks about the show, we had Aldous last week and Journey, and they just gave you the highest praises. Tell me, I heard you almost turned down the role?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I first got the appointment, typically I'm on it. And I actually tabled it because I was like, oh, an enslaved person. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's why we understand when the fans say that. I'm like, we exactly understand where their mindset is, of that I don't know. So, but then, a few weeks later, actually, I got a call and they were like, did you put yourself on tape for that? And I was like, oh, I have it for you tomorrow. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm good. I got this.
Oh, yeah, it's been edited and things. But I read the scripts. And once I read, the first script, the pilot, by Misha Green and Joe Pekaski, they are such fantastic, really, truly.
Yes, it's like I was talking with Aldous. It almost feels like an Ocean's 11 in a way. Like it's like a thriller, but like it keeps you really engaged.
Yeah,
and it's not your traditional slave narrative. And I know when you first got the script, you're like, oh, do we need another one?
Right.
But when folks say, do we need another slave narrative? What do you tell them?
We need to honor our ancestors. We have to honor where we came from. I feel like so many cultures have done that over the years, and we embrace that. We embrace the fact that, what you came through, what you made it through, what you survived, how the nation came together. We've done it before. It's actually a really beautiful story if you tell it in its entirety. And the beauty of a series is that we get that luxury. You're not rushed and try to pack everything in 2 hours. So you get to, just tell one facet. With a series, it's like, oh, we could take the journey of the Harriet Tubmans of the world, which is fantastic. Aisha Hines is killing it.
Yeah.
She's killing it. But then also you get just mama, everyday mama, and what was going on and that love, and that love for the daughter and the struggles that I love that my character gets to go through, that everyday people can say, I still identify today because I know someone who's been through that or I've been through it myself.
And the thing that's beautiful is that we are learning a version of history that was left out of all of our history books.
That's right.
It's almost like, and you're also diversifying like the typical slave narrative. So your character gets sold, and you're now in South Carolina doing rice farming.
Right,
Now, many
with
folks,
the Gullah Geechee Nation.
yes,
And so, I mean, shout out to Queen Quet. She was our historian on site with us, and that just really made it authentic. And that's the thing about the show, is they're all about trying to keep it as authentic as possible to really honor the times while making it dramatic and entertaining. So how they do that, bless their hearts, you know what I mean?
And especially many folks would think that it's just picking cotton, but there were so many different facets to what being a slave was.
Most definitely. And being on on the coast, it was such a whole nother culture. They were able to retain more of their culture from the continent of West Africa. And so that made, you see the colors, you'll see it in the costumes by Karen Wagner. You know, it's so much more vibrant. That's why people are like, Miss Ernestine look real different, you know?
Yeah.
So it's nice to embrace that. It was great also to take off a corset, honey. 'Cause let me tell you, a corset is tighter than this dress. You thought I had trouble sitting up here. You should have seen me try to do those scenes. Good Lord, I was so happy. Season 2, I was like, she's in what? Okay. Yeah. Pass me another piece of
But I'm sure Ernestine herself is not too happy to be out of the house and now in the field.
Well, you know what I learned from season 1, the best lesson that was given to me by my daughter, which is, I love that trajectory of season 1. That story arc was great, is the fact that Miss Ernestine really thought she had power. You know, and when to come to find out, her daughter, showed her that everything you think, this existing in this world, that is not real. It's not something that's at all real or possible or anything that you should strive for. And whether you're in the house or in the field, you're still a slave. You're still enslaved. And so realizing that it doesn't matter if you're in the house or in the field. You can't have power. One of the first scenes in season 1 where Mama's up there and Rosalie's getting her arms.
Yes.
If you can't stop an atrocity like that from happening to your child, then you are a victim of enslavement in the worst way, whether you're in the house. There's no power had if you can't put a stop to that.
You're forced to be a bystander because of your situation.
Exactly, and that just shone some light on that, because I think a lot of the concept of, you think about enslavement, was about divide and conquer and ignorance. So the most we can do to say, oh yeah, she has it better. Yeah, keep everybody arguing about things that make no sense, so that they won't be united against the real atrocity, which is enslavement itself.
And another interesting realization is how this is permeated to our society today.
Oh, most
like this,
definitely.
even based down to the indoor slave and outdoor slave.
Right,
and the whole point of enslavement was to get you bickering amongst each other,
right,
so you can't rise up against us.
That's right. All of that, we still see those remnants today, and colorism, all of that still continues on today. And so we have to I think that's the beauty of this, is that we shine the light on it so we can just realize that it's like, we have to stay focused on the common denominator, which is, enslavement and all the things that we're fighting against. The same way we are right now in this country. And the thing that I'm encouraged by is when you tell the story truthfully, it's actually way more uplifting and way more inspiring than if you try to glamorize it, or when they say, oh, we're going to bring in the white hero. But you know how many white heroes there were? Many. If you actually tell the story truthfully. You know how many black heroes there were? Many. So us as a nation, we have so much really to be proud of what we did in the midst of people really doing horrific things. So when you look at the world today, if you can look at it in truth, you realize that this nation will always have to face people with this horrible mindsets trying to attack what the Constitution and what, the Declaration stands for. And there will be various rays of colors and races always fighting for the betterment.
And it really plays into what the theme of the season is, citizen versus soldier.
That's right.
And the interesting part is, and how this leads to, when you talk about how many white folks, let's bring in a white savior here, but what that means for allyship, and talk about Elizabeth's character, and plus, and being a white ally to us black folks that are, trying to continue every single day to get equality in this way. Yeah,
I mean, I love the journey Jessica DeGal's character is taking. I mean, she's becoming so empowered. All of the women this season, it's really such, I was like, it came out just in time, for the Women's March. I was marching through New York City streets with my best girlfriend, and it's really empowering to see her transformation and really say, I want to take ownership in my place in making change for the better, because she just sees that her husband tried to do it. It's why I love the end of episode 1, which I don't want to give too. I mean, it's right.
I mean, we're 2 episodes in. We're 2 episodes in right now.
I know. Yeah. Ooh, if you ain't seen it.
I mean,
I'm working on the show and it takes my breath away.
Yeah.
You know, when I see that scene, but it's beautiful because it just lets you know no one was safe. Everyone who tried to fight against this, their lives were on the line. The stakes were so high, you know.
And it was even worse if you were black.
Right. Oh, most definitely. And they definitely understood that.
And you know what? One thing I was talking about, like, so currently, as a season 2, episode 2, you and your lover at the time, Hicks, are going through some issues. And episode 1, he was, he stepped out of line, and I mean, very egregiously. And in episode 2, he kind of coaxed you into doing something against another slave, Clara.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about this idea of like domestic violence, and especially how it pertains to like black men and black women, because the black man himself is a victim of white supremacy, and how that he is taking that home and taking it out on his woman, who is his rock, who is there, who is rightfully leading him. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, you know, first of all, Rob Riley, who plays Hicks, and DeWanda Wise, who plays Clara, they are fantastic actors. And I think that just helps a lot. That's not just to say it to, you know, blow smoke. It's really, especially when you're dealing with high stakes situations, it allows you to really kind of go there and feel like you're protected. Yeah. You know, and so it's a gift to be able to work with them, as well as Anthony Hemingway, who, you know, is, you know, AP, but also director. And
just came off of OJ.
Gosh, he's a brilliant, lovely, big-hearted man. So, but, you know, this issue was so important to me. I mean, you know, I started going online a little bit. I love to talk about National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. NCADV.org is a great resource for people who know people who are suffering or who themselves are looking for resources. 1-800-799-HELP. I want to make sure I get that right.
1-800-799-HELP.
HELP is another resource. And that's part of why why I love being on this show, because it's not just, I mean, I get this rich material, but also we're talking about issues that I know people who have been in domestic violence situations. So to bring light to it. And so even in that scene, you know, I've been asked, I said, oh, it's the first situation, but it's not if you think about Miss Ernestine, she's been in an abusive relationship since Tom Macon, you know, since season 1 with the masser.
I mean, essentially, it wasn't like a relationship; it was rape. Like,
right, exactly. And once again, if you go to that, you know, she can't fight, and so the ideas of isolation. She's been taken from her homeland. Now she's been taken from her family. Yeah. Both men, you know, appear to be loving and kind, and you know, really the most generous. And if you kind of look into the research of domestic violence, often they do appear loving and kind, and then the woman or person, actually, man or woman, feel isolated from their families and then if you speak up, you know, because this is not just the United States, we're talking about a worldwide problem here. Yeah. So in a lot of places, and even here, actually, I'll correct myself, when you speak out, you don't really have a safe haven. You're not truly protected, you know. So that's really, we have to change that. We need policy reform so that people can feel empowered to be able to have a voice, speak out, and feel like they can actually be safe once they do that. You know, because often they blame the victim, and the victim is just like, yeah, well, if you can protect me, you know, and often they're not protected. So we have to take responsibility for that.
And Miss Ernestine, it really feels like a victim here, especially she's doing drugs now. Yeah. And she's not always in the right mind, but she's having these like illusions where she keeps seeing Pearlie Mae, where she saw Sam. Can we talk about like that plot device in this show? Because Journey had some last season, and this is like a regular recurring thing. So what does that bring out of the characters and add to the storyline?
You know, well, for one, you get to see, you know, you get to see Pearlie Mae come back. Yeah, which we all love her.
Wrap it up, please. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just a joy. You get to bring back some of your favorite characters. So that's a great way to do that. But also, it just lets you know the psyche of just how difficult it really is to move on. I mean, she's tormented. You know, these people were tormented. You know, going through every day is not easy. I mean, you can only imagine being ripped, and it's the guilt, the amount of guilt, especially from Miss Ernestine. Like the only reason, her whole purpose for living was to protect her children. Yes. So, you know, when you everything's been taken away, and then she knows when she hung Massa that was going to affect James. Wow. She knew that.
We haven't seen James yet.
No, we haven't seen baby James. I ain't going to say nothing. Y'all not going to get me to tell.
I'm just trying to squeeze it out of you, but it's
right.
All right, continue though.
But Maceo he's a brilliant young actor. He really is. I mean, he really is. Bravo for that young man. You know, there's certain things that are done in the editing room for some people, and let me just tell you, this young man he's really fantastic. He's really, before they touch the performance, he's fantastic. But so I enjoy those moments to kind of get lost in what she's thinking. Another way to just tell her psychology, and I think it's great evidence of what these writers are willing to do.
Yeah.
You know, they don't try to conform or
Joe and Misha.
Joe and Misha. They don't try to fit into some box of what a narrative is supposed to look like. There's no supposed to. It's just truth, and they allow their creative juices to flow, and they'll mix it up, whether it's a flashback, whether it's a, you know what, I'm going to take all these scenes and make it into one episode, you know, which I think next week is supposed to be a little bit of that, which I'm looking forward to. Get your tissues ready. Oh, God. But, you know, y'all, it's 10 episodes. So Miss Ernestine, she got to go low before we try to see whether or not she makes it through.
It's like I'm wondering, like, how far does, like, it go? It only seems like she just keeps on going, like, lower and lower and lower.
But it's truth-telling. And the beauty, I wanted to go, because you asked a specific question about, you know, between the black man and the black woman.
Yes.
And I love that question. And I know I went off this so much.
Oh, no.
But with that, you know, Misha and Joe didn't shy away from that either. So we will see, without me saying too much and getting in trouble, getting myself in trouble, you know, where it's addressed, where it is addressed, that dynamic. But I think, you know, in hindsight, it's so much easier to be able to tackle these things. But when you're in it, how do you grapple with the fact that you are bringing home the pain that you live with every day?
Every single day.
Yeah.
And what does
how
that,
do you?
like,
and when you know that that's no excuse.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That doesn't give you the right to put your hands on anyone because of what you're going through. That you really have to figure out that, wow, there's something within myself that I don't have what it takes to deal with what's happening. You know, there are tools that I haven't gained, but maybe someone else watching will see that. But
still using your character to take out his dirty work.
Right. Yeah.
It's really tough.
Yeah, Miss Ernestine, she ain't no joke. But I was interested in we live tweet every Wednesday. So thank you for everyone who live tweets with us. We have such a blast. But, you know, I was interested to see what they felt like, even with that Clara scene. Because, you know, Miss Ernestine, she was grappling. I remember, I was like, I love trying to discuss. I didn't know. You talk about playing not knowing. I was like, you know, it wasn't a decision to say, oh, yeah, she wants Clara to have an abortion. At first, you know, when she was just like, yo,
my kids are everything to me.
My kids are everything. And then Clara walks away and you're just like, yeah, that's right, you know? But then she has that flashback with French, the love of her life, and he was just like, yeah, your kids are everything. But you know, as soon as you have children, it's the worst thing because of the fear.
And you're bringing them into slavery.
And the possibility and what you're bringing them into.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, that's the whole show is always like, oh. That's what you do the whole show. It's like, but I love that. It's one of the things I love about it. There's so many layers.
I love how you were saying that Joe and Misha didn't want to make a traditional slave story. And the one thing that really sticks out, first episode, we hear Beyonce. You know, we hear contemporary music with the antebellum South, we hear Kendrick Lamar, new songs from John Legend. Talk about, like, this juxtaposition. Like, it's at first people were curious about it, but now I think it really works.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, you just say it and I just hear freedom.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I need freedom. Come on, man. I can't even say it without saying it.
Yeah.
You know, but I think music has always done that over the years. And I love that it's not just hip hop, it's contemporary music. So that it covers really the gamut, you know, all season. And so I think it's brilliant. I mean, I think, you know, it all cultures relate. It's always been, music has always been something to unite cultures, unite communities, unite people from different, you know, groups of walks of life, whether you have money, socioeconomic backgrounds. It's just a uniter. And I think that's great because you can pull in all kinds of audience groups to say, hey, this too has something for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand maybe the person on their journey, you understand the experience because it's a human experience.
And the feeling that the music is giving you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Often.
And it feels like it has John Legend's fingertips all over it.
Oh, yeah.
And they recently released photos of him as Frederick Douglass.
I know, it's gonna be, y'all gonna love him in that. He's such a great artist, though. I mean, he really is a lovely artist, a lovely man. And I think you guys are gonna really enjoy his work.
And when we mentioned Aisha Hines earlier in the interview, Harriet Tubman, and we have Viola Davis also playing Harriet Tubman in an upcoming biopic for HBO. Like, isn't it amazing to see one
is
of...
she?
Yeah.
I know Cynthia Erivo's playing.
But Viola Davis is also doing one coming.
Hey, we got all kinds of... Oh, hey, bring it on. I love it. That's going to be... Well, the Queen Viola.
Yeah.
Come
How
on.
good did it feel to see her win that supporting Best Actress?
Oh my God, it's so necessary. It's so right.
Yes.
You know, she's extraordinary, and the way you can even see it by her thank you speeches. You know, they're always so inspiring.
And they don't turn the music
know?
on for her.
No,
they let her talk as
they
long
better
as she
not.
wants. They let her talk as long as she
They
wants.
better not. Man, please. She came in here right now. I'd be like, yes, ma'am. Come on, sit down. I'll stand. You gotta know. You gotta know what it is. You know, she's really extraordinary, and she's another person that speaks from the heart. And she, it's about the storytelling for her, and you see that in every performance.
And she also has an extensive history on theater, and you do as well.
Yes.
Can you talk about bringing, your role on the stage, your roles on the stage to Ernestine on screen?
I think it's, my first entryway into the arts was really dramaturgy. I didn't know it was dramaturgy, but it was
Can
about...
you explain dramaturgy for anybody that doesn't...
Just finding out about a character, their history, where they're from, the time period, what makes them move, what makes them scratch, what makes them itch,
Yeah.
And that kind of study of character is very interesting to me. Journey, my sweetheart, she loves this. In season 1, it's the scene where Sam, the heels are cut.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And and she says, Amirah, I always love that scene because you kiss his feet. And I know that wasn't in the script. And I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet. But I realized, I'm like, that's what I love about her work,
Yeah.
But it's true because when you get into the world of a character, it's more than just the page. Because it's not about, I've never done this because I want to be in the front, I want to be on camera, I like getting my makeup though, that's cute. I like this high ponytail. Honey, I can't do this high ponytail by myself.
Oh, I totally understand. It's amazing. Yeah. I love getting makeup done. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Y'all can take all this lipstick off this mic.
We'll let you have it.
But that's the beauty. Beyond that, when you really can kind of just kind of give yourself over to someone else's world, and it's really about compassion and really about grace, and get out of your way and say, you know what, in these circumstances, what would I do? How would I survive? How would I go through this? And so things like kissing your sons, I would, of course, that's my baby. Yeah. You know what I mean? Funky feet and all. Give them to me,
Let's do it, yes.
And
yes.
that's just real. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what the theater gave me is, just kind of that release over to character and getting out of your own way and giving yourself permission to really invest and be compassionate to someone else, which is, it's a great gift. And even as in my personal life, it's been a great gift to learn.
It gives you this ability to improvise.
That's right.
Because
and have
you're already
fun.
seeing it, like you know what their life is like. This is the character. You're not just playing what's on the page.
Yeah, shout out to Jim Calder at NYU.
Oh.
Shout out. right here.
You can probably see it, you know?
Right? Because, that was what that class was about. It was always about, it's so much play. It's about really being able to play, going there. And, he'd say to us in class, he'd be like, I'm bored, no? And we were like, damn. But then you think about it, you'd be like, yeah, I guess I'm bored too. And he's like, if you're bored, I'm bored.
Yeah.
And so it's just that dynamic of really kind of living in truth as much as possible.
I love how you were able to bring that up. That still sticks with you.
Oh yeah, definitely. You spend 3 intense years really trying to learn how to get out of your own way. I learned that. Season 1, 2, emotions, you're sitting there, you're like, okay, I gotta find this character. Who is she? Okay, great. Anthony's looking at me like, Misha and Joe are just like, you better get this right. You know what I mean? And you're like, all right. And then you're like, Journey, oh my God, I love you, Journey. All these things are happening, And you're like, that first scene for season 1, our first day that we filmed was the birth scene. Y'all remember the birth scene?
Oh my gosh.
That was the first day. We got blood flying everywhere. I'm running in. I'm like, ooh, what are my lines? I'm like squinting. It was like hell. And then the second day was the sex scene. Or I think that was the second.
Wow, they really put you.
Hunty. After that, I was like, let's go. I'm ready. I was like, y'all gonna put me through all that. But it's like, it takes a certain level of play and a certain level of trust. And, emotions, I always feel, recently I felt like they're like children. Children will be just like, they'll just look at me like.
Know.
Well, you do know. I didn't birth any children yet, but I'm just saying, how children call you out and they'll just be like, you got a booger.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because you're like, I really wanted to know. Thank you. And
Thanks for letting me know.
How many adults are going to pass you and be like, he got a booger? You know what I mean?
Or they're going to tell the person next to you, you got a booger, yeah.
Someone, but not you. But I feel like emotions are similar. Like they're there and they're just looking for truth. So if you're sitting there thinking about, I gotta look cute and they'll be like, I'm not showing up. That's what I've learned for me. But then when you get out of that and say, okay, I'm here and that's my daughter, and I just keep playing with my unconscious mind, and I'm just like, oh, and she's my daughter who was my first, who's my love, and now she's out there, and I just keep talking and talking until something starts hitting me.
Bam.
Some truth starts hitting me, and then it goes, thank you, I'm here for you, because you're here for me. You're living in truth. So you got to be able, because it shows up every time for me. When I do that. when I'm being self-conscious, she's like, I don't know. You can show up and maybe I'll show up.
That's really sweet. Can you please clap it up? Yeah. I think we have some audience questions. Yes. You have the shirt on and everything. Rise up.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, look, stand up. Rise up. Yeah.
Better rise up for the question. Amazing show. One of the most important, I think, that's been on in a long time. One of the things that fans love about Ernestine is, despite being a slave, you carry yourself with a dignity and almost royal-like quality. Was that part of the role originally, or was that your interpretation of the character?
Oh, I have to say I have to say that it is a part of the role. I don't know for sure, but knowing Misha Green and Joe Pekaski, and knowing Misha's family, there's a certain amount of power and that I just respect about them so much that I cannot imagine that she wrote it without that, because that's where she comes from. And then that's where I come from. So I can't I think about my own mother, and she's been through some stuff, and the dignity and grace with which she carries herself every day for us, for her children, has always been present. So there's no other way I know to play it. Because even through struggle, I feel like my people and the people that I've used to seeing always come through. I have girlfriends who have 2 jobs, and they don't have 2 jobs. They're like, girl, I'm going to my 2nd job. Because they got to do what they have to do to pay their rent and to pay, you know what I mean? So, yeah, for women, I've always felt like, it's always come with a certain level of strength, even when we're going through.
Yes, I think we have another one.
Hey, Amirah.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your infectious energy. You're just amazing. I just have a question about, sort of growing up wanting to be an actor. Were there any actresses, actors, performances, movies that really inspired you and kind of pushed you into doing this?
Yeah, I have to say.
So you're tweeting about Denzel not too long ago.
God, I love Denzel's speech at the, which one was it? Is that the Essence?
I think it was a SAG Awards.
SAG?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Woo, you get down how many stand-ups, fall down 6, get up 7 or something like that. Sorry, Denzel. He's like, I ain't say that, misquoting me. But yeah, Denzel Washington's of the world. I love Tracee Ellis Ross. She knows I love her so much. Just because of, I feel like she's so her. And that's a beautiful thing to see. When you see someone kind of living in their truth, not trying to be anyone, I think that's always so attractive. There's so many. Viola Davis, of course. Joe Morton. I love Joe Morton. I feel like anything Joe Morton touches, I'm just like, acting lesson 101.
He scares me on Scandal.
Yeah, I know.
Terrifying.
And the thing that I love about Joe is like, he'll sit with Carrie. He has one scene, which I wish I knew what it was, but he's sitting just on the bench. And those to me are some of the best scenes when 2 people are just talking. That's the theater in me, because you can do all the fast, the running. That's exciting, definitely. And will kill your ass. But I'm sorry, can I say ass on this show?
Yes, we're good. We're good. This is the internet. This is the internet.
Okay, good. Ass. Sorry, bye. Sorry. Now I'm in trouble. See.
This is builds. Yeah.
Now I'm in trouble. But it's when you sit with someone and you just talking. And it's the layers of it. And Joe, he's one of the best at that. You know what I mean? I think that's when you can kind of tap into what we all go through in everyday life. So thanks for the question.
Do we have another? Yes, we do.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So which African-American leader did you look up to that inspired you to do this film? And what would you say to them if they were still living?
That's a great question. I love Maya Angelou.
Yes.
I love her poetry. Has always inspired me. Yeah, I guess I can stay there. There are so many, but I'll stay there with her poetry has just always been so uplifting and so courageous, and and her story of overcoming struggle. So it's just a simple thank you. I think the more we share our stories, the more encouraged we all are. I remember hearing the story about Michael Jordan. It's still one of my favorites when he's just like, do you know how many games I lost before I won.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I love to tell young people that story because we always look at someone when they've arrived and we think that's the way it's always been.
But they don't see the
you know,
work.
and they don't see the work or the testimony. And the testimony is where the beauty lies. That's why I love working on this show, because it's all about the testimony. It's not about the occupation. It's about the revolution, you know? And so it didn't end. It doesn't have to end wherever you're at right now.
It does not.
You know?
It always continues.
And so it's all here. You have to say, it's not going to end here. I may be going through this, but it doesn't have to end this way. Like, you have to decide for yourself what your goal is. And there are actually so many people in the world willing to help, but you have to be your first advocate.
Yes. Yes, you have to really be able to stick up for yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know, speaking of Michael Jordan, that he was like 5'7", like in 11th grade. Like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was short. Like his
Wow.
brother's short, and he had a tremendous growth spurt. Plus, with like the insane hard work, whatever. But you get the point. Like people don't see the journey; they only see the finished product.
Right, and that journey is what keeps me going. You know, that journey just to, and that's what I like to share. I'm just like, no. I was across the street dreaming of the possibility of being in this room.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I was walking these streets. I'm from New York, so I was like cold with the book bag, and you got your change of clothes. You know, I mean, and you're in the bathroom with your ladies, and the sign says, "Please do not change." And we all like, yeah, but we gotta change. And we're all, you know what I mean? And you're trying to clean the counter because you're trying to get all the makeup off.
Yeah.
And you go from a commercial audition to like a dramatic thing, and so you got on your green, like, I'm gonna be like, I work at Kmart. And then, you know, and then you're just like trying to then do August Wilson after that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, I do this, sure. But, you know, and that's the beauty, though. Without that hustle, you don't really get to appreciate, you know, what this is, you know, and it's a beautiful thing to get here and be able to live your dream and tell these stories that have purpose and, you know, give voice to the voiceless. That's when it really just merges to become something really masterful.
So before we get out of here, I asked Journey this question a couple weeks ago when she was on. She had said that she always learns something about herself when she plays a character. So what has Ernestine taught you about yourself?
Oh my God, I love. Don't you? You gonna make me cry. She's made me stronger. You know, I think, you know, what I brought to the character was compassion. You know, I've always been. My mom said I've always been the thank you baby. Always.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, she said she tried to give me liver when I was a kid, and I hate liver. And then I was like this, but I was still eating it because I was like, I'm the thank you baby. You know, I'm just like, okay. And she said, we just had this conversation yesterday. And she said, my uncle was like, I think she doesn't like it. And so I'm like, thank you, Theo, thank you. It's my mom's side of the family. I was like, good Lord, she's about to kill me. I still hate liver. But fry it, bake it, I don't care.
It's liver, yeah.
Right, it's liver. But total tangent. Sorry, Miss Ernestine. But you know, what she did give me was strength, you know, and to walk taller, to stand in my truth. You know, Miss Ernestine stands in her truth, for better or for worse. You know, she's aligned with her spirit. Whatever she wants to do, that's who she is. And I felt like there was some shifting that happened in my life just after season 1 that said, align yourself. This is who you say you are, be who you say you are. Mm-hmm. And I think there's such honor in that, to be able to be a woman of your word, to be a woman aligned, or a person align your spirit with your actions, you know, be a person of your word. There's integrity in all of that. And not saying I was a hot mess, y'all. Hold on. I'm not trying to say I was but you know, there was some growth.
Yeah.
There was some growth that it feels really good to step into that maturity and to say, you know what? I'm gonna stand in all of this, and if I fall on my face, I fall. And that's, you know, and then you learn and you move on. But stand in it. You know, stand in it and own it. It's way better than always just trying to be polite.
Amirah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can you please make some noise for Amirah Vann? This is Miss Ernestine. Make sure you guys check out Underground on WGN on 10/9 Central. This is Build. My name is Jacques Morel. Later, guys.